makeup family. Today we're talking about my recommendations for the Sephora VIB sale 2019. So the sale starts on April 26th and it starts with the rouges, which get 20% off. The VIBs get 15% off, and then the Beauty Insiders are going to be getting 15% off. You know, when I start to think about my recommendations for the sale, obviously my absolute favorite category are palettes. But I'm going to start off with skincare. I just have a couple of items that are absolute must-haves. I'm personally going to be picking up some of the Natasha skincare, the Deep Cleanse, the Dewy Skin Cream. I think that's it. But something that I really love is this Youth to the People Superberry Hydrate and Glow Dream Mask. This stuff has been amazing. And I bought it from the Youth to the People website about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And it smells like a dream. It's very thick. And this has just been so moisturizing and so like good to my skin. This retails I think for $58 and it's worth every penny. This is a really, really great thing if you can get some extra dollars off. I highly recommend this Superberry Hydrate and Glow Mask. It is really, really great. It's not something you have to wash off or anything like that. It's really just a super amazing moisturizer that you sleep in and you wake up to like really dewy, plump skin the next day. I would be remiss if I didn't include a couple of lip products that I really, really love. This lip serum right here that I'm almost out of, I do have two backups because I love this serum so much. It's the Algenist Liquid Collagen Lip, and I know a lot of people, it has this really cool little applicator and it feels very cooling and fresh on, and my lips have not been dry and I haven't had any problems with my lips in so long since I started using this. I remember I purchased this Algenist Lip Collagen Lip about a year and a half ago maybe, when I had a botched lip injection situation and my lips were they were in really bad shape for a while. But this has really brought my lips back to life and they're just never dry. I don't have any issues, and you know, it just plumps and smooth out your lips so nice. And it doesn't bother my sensitive skin, and it just really keeps my lips looking nice. And of course I use the Bite Beauty Agave lip mask. This is a tiny one that I have in the flavor Candy Cane that smells like peppermint. Again, I usually put that on right when I'm coming to my beauty room, when I'm starting my makeup routine, and it just can't be beat. I mean, it's very thick. It literally is a lip mask, and by the time you get through putting on your products, then your lips are ready to go for if you want a super matte lipstick or liquid lipstick, then your lips are going to be plump and hydrated and ready to go. Okay, I don't have a foundation for you, but I do have this Hollywood Flawless Filter, which has virtually no coverage. It really is more like a liquid illuminating product. This is something that I just love. I have it in the color medium 4, which has a gold undertone like my skin, and I just love this stuff. It is something that I mix with foundation, or I can even just put it on the high points of my face when, you know, I want to have a really nice glow. And it looks particularly beautiful when mixed with a BB cream or a foundation. It really just, you know, like really revs up that glow and the luminosity in your skin. I can't say enough good things about this. This is $44. Okay, now I'm gonna get to my favorite category, of course, which are palettes, and then we'll get to some lip products. The Riviera palette, I love this palette. It's beautiful. It's colorful, it's interesting, it has a great formulation. This whole row is nothing but mattes, and these three mattes down here are really just great crease colors. I just can't say enough good things about this palette. People who have watched my videos know how much I have been like adoring this palette, and this is just, you know, it's stunning. This is so highly recommended. Now I will say I'm going to be actually posting this today, and Anastasia has a 25% off sale right now, and I highly recommend that you run and don't walk to the Anastasia website and get the 25% off. I think if you spend 100, then I think maybe you get 20% off if you spend 50 or less. But I would get this palette, I would get the Sultry palette, and I would definitely get the Soft Glam palette if you don't already own those. But in the order that I would buy them, these two I would run and get, because they are that awesome. If you don't pick them up, if you can't pick them up at the Anastasia sale for 25% off, they are absolutely worth picking up in the Sephora sale for 20% off. They're just really great palettes. A cool tone neutral palette and a really bright, colorful, amazing palette. And I know a couple of people that have been eyeing this, and I think this is definitely the time to pick it up while it's on sale. I'm sure you've already seen the Sultry palette. It's been out for a while, but if you haven't, feast your eyes on this gorgeous, cool toned goodness. It's just everything the Naked Reloaded wanted to be, and then some. It's a really great palette. So I would pick those up for sure in the sale, where you can get 15 or 20% off, or 25% off if you can hit up the Anastasia sale. The Natasha Denona Biba palette. I love this so much more than I anticipated I would. It's not even funny. It's a mix of warm and cool tone neutrals, and it's just so stinking easy to use. I mean, this palette is just, it's a joy to use. I have so much fun using it, and it's so easy. It's kind of just takes all the guesswork out of doing eyeshadow looks. I love the fact that these are all matte shadows except for 3 shimmers, and I particularly enjoy the fact that there are only 3 shimmers because I'm not crazy about the shimmer formula in this palette. So I love the matte shadows. I'm wearing them on my eyes today. I have this color Sculpture, which is like one of my favorite cool tone colors ever, and I have the color Sculpture in my crease. And I just love this palette. You can get cool tone and warm tone looks out of it. I can't say enough good things about this palette. It is so versatile. Today when I was using it, my only complaint is that I really wish that it has a couple of satin, very satin mattes, like this deep gray here and this black are more of a satin finish instead of a inky matte flat finish. And for me, I prefer my blacks to be matte, inky, matte, very flat, very bold. And this is a very silky satin finish matte. And so whenever I use this palette, I have to go into another palette to use a black that is very matte in nature. And that's what I did today. I had to go in with the palette that's coming up next, which is a cool toned neutral dream palette. It is the Steeletto palette by Marc Jacobs. Let me clean her off. She's got fingerprints. And she's stunning. This is the Steeletto palette. It is purpley, gray, cool tone, neutral goodness for your heart and soul. And I went in today with this matte color called Catwalks. I went in with a little bit more of this purple color called Jungle in my crease, and the sparkling, this beautiful color here, which I have to show you. This is just so pretty. I went in on my lid with that gorgeous lilac goodness. So again, this is the Marc Jacobs Steeletto palette. I believe this retails, I want to say $48. That's what I want to say. But this palette is very worth it. It's very pigmented. It's very silky. The mattes are really silky. They're very easy to blend and work with. I love this palette. There's not a dud in the bunch. actually go back to basics. And this is not the sexiest palette in the world. In fact, to look at it, you'd be like, oh, it's one of the most boring. But, you know, hey, we've got to have those workhorses in our collection. And this Viseart Neutral Mattes palette is that workhorse. If you don't have this Neutral Matte palette in your collection, this may very well be worth your while. It is, as the name states, one of my colors came out. I have to get that glued back in, but it is literally just neutral mattes. And this is so beginner friendly. These are very pigmented and they build up nicely. They blend like a dream, and they really help you get, you know, some very cohesive eyeshadow looks. And the mattes are great. You can take this palette and you can use this palette as a companion to any palette that you have. Okay, 2 of them have fallen out. I'm gonna have to glue them back in. I'm not gonna rattle this around in your face anymore. But that's probably how I've had this palette. I'm sure I've had this palette at least for a couple of years. But this is a great palette. It's been around for a while, and it's just a staple. It is something that you can use as a companion palette to all of your colorful, bright, fun, sexy, summery. If you struggle with colorful palettes, like for example, in my colorful palette favorites, I included the Magic palette by Juvia's Place with all these bright, bold colors. And if you struggle to put together a cohesive look using a colorful palette like that, or like, say, for example, the Riviera palette, if you struggle to put together a cohesive look, although there are some browns and some neutrals to help you with that, this palette will get you out of, it will bail you out of a lot of makeup disasters. So if you struggle with colorful palettes, or, you know, finding the right neutral crease color or matte crease color to, you know, sort of get your palettes, your colorful palettes out and actually play with them and actually use them. If you find yourself struggling with that, this Viseart Neutral Mattes palette may be the answer. The biggest con of this palette, despite the fact that it has 12 really great neutral matte colors, is the price. I think the price is a lot at this point. I mean, but $80 is the price point for this palette, and I don't regret buying it. I don't regret buying this palette at all. This was before I owned any Natasha Denona, and before I owned any Pat McGrath. $80 seemed like a boatload of money to spend on an eyeshadow palette. But literally, if you could only have one eyeshadow palette in your collection and have that be something that would be flattering and neutral, and, you know, looks that you can put together, and you can go to work in them, and you can go out to dinner in them, and to really just sort of carry you through all your makeup looks, this is it. And it's just so easy. It's really kind of foolproof. I mean, you can blend these out and you don't get into trouble with your makeup looks. So yeah, this is a great palette, the Viseart Neutral Matte palette. I've gotta, of course, include some Pat McGrath, because I'm such a Pat McGrath fan. If I had to just pick one Pat McGrath palette to say, hey, you know, this sale is coming up, it's going to be 20% off or 15% off. Here's something that I think that you should grab, that I think you'll get a lot of use out of. I would pick the Bronze Ambition palette by Pat McGrath. It's one of her 6-pan palettes, and the reason why I chose this is because this palette is, I would say, her easiest palette. I think there's a big learning curve to Pat McGrath shadows. The finishes and the textures of them are not super beginner friendly. Even though the mattes are very blendable, they blend well and they blend easily. Just the color stories and the textures can be a little bit more difficult to work with than, say, something like the Viseart Neutral Mattes. And so out of all 12 of the palettes that Pat McGrath has, and I have all of them, I can honestly say that this palette, for the money, is the easiest, most neutral palette. It has warm tone neutrals. It's got this really great, I think this color is called Throwing Shade. Yep. This is like one of my favorite warm tone neutrals. And it's just a great warm terracotta brown. And it is just, it's stunning. This is only $55. And you can use this in your crease, and you can, you know, really set it off with all of these other shimmers. Now this, if I remember correctly, is also a matte. Yeah, it's also a matte, but it has gold glitter or gold glitter particles in it. Very flattering. This palette right here, the Bronze Ambition, is by far Pat McGrath's easiest, most user-friendly palette that I think she has come out with. It's very neutral. You can come up with an array of different warm tone neutral looks, and you know, you don't have to think about it too much. You can just sort of go in, build up the crease color, work some of the deeper brown into your outer V, and then get, you know, any one of these shimmers, and the shimmers are stunning. I'm going to give you this gorgeous copper color here that is so smooth and buttery. It's called, I think this is called Bronze Struck. No, that wouldn't be called bronze. It's got to be called copper or something, because it's copperized, because it is copper, and it looks like a copper penny. Yeah, a brand new penny. Look at that. That is a beautiful metallic, just beautiful. This is so great for the fall, especially, you know, these warm tone, bronzy, coppery neutrals are just, you know, they scream fall. But this is, you know, the oranginess of, say, this copper is also, this is something that's very summertime friendly. It's a beautiful palette, and it's easy. It's easy, it's user-friendly. If I had to pick one Pat McGrath palette that I can honestly, in good conscience, recommend to a subscriber who, you know, wasn't trying to spend a gazillion dollars in the Sephora sale, and was like, you know, I've been hearing great things about this Pat McGrath makeup, and I see all this beautiful makeup, but I really don't know where to start, or, you know, I really don't want to spend $125 for one palette. Where should I start? This is where I would recommend that you start with the Bronze Ambition palette. It's easy, it's neutral, and it's a palette that you can get a whole lot of use out of. So that's the one I definitely recommend. Okay, highlighter time. The highlighter that I've been using the absolute most, it's the Amrezy highlighter by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Honestly, like I said, I would hit that Anastasia sale. I would grab this highlighter. I would grab some of those bronzers. I intend to pick some of those up, as I don't own any of the Anastasia bronzers, and I've heard such good things. But I would pick this up. I would pick the Sultry palette up, and the Riviera palette if you don't own those already. But I can't stop wearing this highlight. It's so beautiful, and I just can't stop wearing it. This is the highlighter here, the Amrezy highlighter. Isn't that beautiful? And it's just easy. It's kind of a mix of warm and cool. It's very neutral, so you can wear it with, you know, a cool tone eye look like I have today. You know, something that's very, very cool tone. I think my eye look turned out really beautiful. It's a combination of my two favorite palettes right now. Like I said, it's a combination of the Natasha Denona Biba palette and the Marc Jacobs Steeletto palette. It's like if the Steeletto palette and the Biba palette had a gorgeous little baby, it would be the eye look that I did today using those two. The highlighting stick that I've been loving is by YSL. It's the Touche Clot Shimmer Stick in the color Light Gold, and I just love this. It layers on so beautifully over powders. It's very pigmented. Okay, let me try something that you can actually see. There you go. And it's really, really a pretty, easy highlighter to use. So that's the Touche Clot Shimmer Stick in the color Light Gold. I think that retails for $34. There's one brush that I can recommend. Anybody who has watched me for any time knows that I love my Sonia G, and I love my Wayne Goss brushes, and I love my Hakuhodo brushes. But there is one Sephora brush that has my heart, and I would recommend it over and over again. It is the Sephora Pro Airbrush Concealer number 57, and it is fluffy, it's synthetic, it's beautiful. It is absolutely amazing for blending out your concealer. It doesn't tug or pull. It's very soft and very good for like the fragile skin around your eyes. I love this brush, this airbrush number 57 from Sephora. I would recommend the Hourglass not ambient. It's the translucent, it's the Veil Translucent Setting Powder. And I bought it in this tiny size, and I have had it for a while. I just don't use a lot of powder. I use a tiny little bit in this area when I use concealer, and you know, it's gonna take me a really long time to use this powder up. So I bought it in the tiny size, and I think that it retails for about $18 or $20. How did I get all this damn powder? The only thing about the small size is it doesn't have the really cool sifter that the larger size has, but that retails for $48. And you know, this could last me like the whole year, I'm sure. I just don't use that much powder, but it's great, and it doesn't cake, and it doesn't crease, and it doesn't, you know, it's flattering on mature skin. So this Veil powder is definitely what I set my concealer with these days. Some really cool lip products. My favorite lipstick so far this year, nothing has surpassed it, is my Pat McGrath Lust Angeles lipstick. And it's in the Lust formulation and the Luxe Trance formulation, and it's just a beautiful cool toned dirty brown, and I love this lipstick. It's beautiful, it's creamy, it's long lasting, it's flattering. Lust Angeles by Pat McGrath. I hope they have that at Sephora, because I know some of the colors on her website, for some reason, they were like only $26 or $28 instead of the normal $38 that she charges. So hopefully they do have it. It's just a great lipstick. But here's one that I know Sephora should have, and that's Vendetta. So my favorite nude is the Lust Angeles, and my favorite red is by Pat McGrath, and it's called Vendetta, and it's in this gorgeous packaging. That's the same as the Decadence packaging for the Decadence palette. And she's a beautiful red. Okay, that's Wax Watch. That's Vendetta. And I feel so sexy. It's like beyond sexy wearing this red lippy. It's beautiful. Pat McGrath's Matte Trans formula is award-winning for a reason. It lasts, it has minimal transfer, it feels good on your lips, it doesn't dry your lips out, and you just feel like a boss. You just feel like that girl when you wear this beautiful lipstick. The Stila, this is an eye product, not a lip product, but I have a lot of the glitter and glows and shimmer and glows, the liquid eyeshadow formula from Stila. But my favorite, the one that I seem to like gravitate to all the time and come back to over and over again, that I actually use instead of just put in a pretty container on my dresser, the one that I actually end up using is Diamond Dust. And it's just so pretty. I have some on my and you can see it just has this beautiful diamond-like sparkle. It's kind of sheer, and that might be like a negative for some colors and, you know, depending, I guess, on what you want to use it for. But I love the fact that the Diamond Dust is kind of sheer, but you just get that beautiful diamond-like sparkle. And I use that on my inner corner today. And it just gives you that nice little bit of intense sparkle where you place it. And it has that kind of sheer base so that it doesn't really alter the color of your shadows. So you can put it over top a lot of different kinds of eye looks without changing the actual color or tone of your eyeshadow look. So I love that. I love me some Diamond Dust. And I like that it's in a sheer base that's kind of see-through except for just the diamond glitter particles. Finally, for lippies, I got this beautiful cool toned neutral pinky, running out of space. There we go. Oh, it's beautiful. And I actually wore her today, and it's Oblivion. I'm sorry, it is Oblivion by Urban Decay, and it's in the Mega Matte formula. But there's nothing like really matte, mega matte about it. It's not drying, it's very creamy, it wears well. And I just love that it's like this kind of cool toned, purpley pink, dusky purpley pink color that I think goes really, really well with the Steeletto. So lately when I've been doing cool tone purpley eye looks with the Steeletto palette, or say with this last row of the Natasha Denona Biba palette, then it seems like I layer the Diamond Dust over my eye look, and I also use this Oblivion. And I think what's really cool is that the Vice lipstick formula by Urban Decay is excellent for the price. This is one of the most inexpensive lipsticks that Sephora probably carries, and I think it retails for like, I want to say $18. I think it's $17 maybe, or $18. It's very inexpensive compared to, you know, some of the other, you know, like high-end lipsticks, and it's really a really great option for cool tone eye looks. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. Comment and like below, and I will see you on the very next video.